have things that you felt like were maybe frustrating you or stressing you out a bit before we started this whole process?
I think definitely before my first call with you, I did not want to have this baby, like physically have to give birth to this baby. And even though there is a little part of me that did, because I knew how empowering having my daughter was, and I knew that my body could do it, and I knew that, you know, it would be an incredible thing and it would all work out, I was like totally dreading having to go through childbirth again. And I had told my husband that especially the first 20 weeks, I was like, I just don't want to have to like have a baby again, because like I said, in the very first time I spoke with you, I felt so proud afterwards, and was so thankful for that experience. But I also remembered that the entire labor long, running through my head was, I will never do this again. Like, I will never, ever do this again. And I definitely just had a lot of dread. And after getting to the experience of having your coaching, and then also access to such a different type of childbirth education, I've been able to just get really excited over the last 16 weeks, something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for me, that's the biggest thing that stands out, is I genuinely was in a place of like dreading having to do that part of getting this baby to join our family.
So I'm curious what it has felt like going through with the program.
For me, it's mostly just been really fun and really personal. That has been, it's so different than going to a childbirth class, whether it's 1 8-hour day on a Saturday or 6 classes for 6 weeks in a row. It's just so different than sitting down with an instructor and a group of people, and they might have you do activities with each other or even with your partner, but it's not tailored to anything other than an expecting mom and their partner. So that is what was so cool about the program, is it was tailored to who you are and how to take that into your birth. And to me, that just totally, like, I think that's really what flipped it around and made me feel so excited about getting to try it, because I understood so much more about myself and how that presented in the birth of my first daughter. But it'd be equally valuable for someone that hasn't had a kid yet, because anyone that has listened to all of these conversations has heard it presents in all areas of your life, and you don't get that in any other form of childbirth preparation or education that I have been exposed to. And going through this program has just been so empowering, because it's so specific to you and your birth, not just the anatomy of birth and what you can do about it.
So what questions have been answered for you since going through this program and doing the coaching?
I think most of the questions that were answered, I didn't know I had. And I do think that on like the initial questionnaire type thing I sent you, I do think I had said something about my husband and I specifically working together differently this time around. So I guess that is a question. I just didn't even know what the specifics of that question were. I just knew that it could have been a lot better than it was. Mm-hmm. So that, was a huge piece that was answered and then very expanded upon, because there's just a lot of learning and growing that happened through that information. Nutritionally, a lot of things helped me. Yeah, really the whole nutrition part, which is kind of surprising to me, because I'm a pretty nutritionally sound and motivated person. But going through all of that and then obviously our more in-depth conversations really helped with not only brainstorming and thinking a little bit outside the box and paying more attention, but it also just gave me more motivation to focus on that more in my pregnancy, because you do a really good job at did a really good job at helping me understand how all of that plays in to your pregnancy and your childbirth, and it's important the whole time, because so many people tell you, like, as long as you're eating, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Like, there's just so many, a calorie is a calorie. I can't tell you how many people told me that, especially with my first pregnancy. I mean, I literally had people tell me, like, it didn't matter if you were eating like a bowl of cornflakes or like Frosted Flakes or Otter Pops versus like some eggs and a piece of toast. They're like, just get in calories, it doesn't matter. And so I think that that's kind of a misconception that goes around. And so even someone that is usually a really healthy person can buy into that and be like, it's fine, the baby's gonna grow, they'll get what they need. So many people say that too. The baby will take what they need. But if it's not there, they can't take it. That was one of my biggest things I was interested in, and definitely answered a lot of questions.
So what has been the biggest change for you in going through this program?
The biggest change is probably just my awareness of myself, and physically and mentally and emotionally, honestly, I think is the biggest thing, which is probably another reason I have, a high level of excitement going into the birth, because I just have so much more of an awareness of who I am and who I'm taking to the birth with me,
What is exciting you the most about this birth?
Honestly, I think getting to take everything I've learned going through the course, and obviously our conversations, getting to take all of that and actually apply it for a more natural experience, like getting to take who I am as a person and apply it to that, and my husband, who I am, who my husband is, getting to incorporate that into how we step into birthing a child together, and doing that together is just so exciting to me, because I just feel so knowledgeable, but not in a content sort of way. It's not like, has nothing to do with centimeters dilated and seconds between contractions. It has to do with just confidence in who I am and who he is and how we work separately. So how you take that into a birth, that's just a very, very different perspective than you hear talked about. And so I'm just really excited to get to do that. It feels like a really big gift, because I genuinely think that had I not had the chance to do this with you, I don't think we would have pursued any form of childbirth education again, because it's pretty basic information that you learn in that type of a setting. And so it almost scares me to think about what the birth of our second child could have looked like, because I could very well have just been in the place of like, oh, I have to go do this. And we probably would have walked into it the exact same way we walked into the other one, with personal beliefs and thoughts, and never having kind of taken those and turned them into more of a working team.
What would you say to somebody like your best friend or your sister who's debating about whether or not to take a childbirth course?
If I was talking to someone that was debating about it, I would encourage them to do so specifically because of the preparation, the communication of going through that, the preparation that would give to the communication with your birth partner specifically. Because I do think even with the very generic childbirth class we did, that was the one thing that I think we benefit benefited from it was it gave us something to talk about with more specific details. But obviously, more specifically, like I would 100% recommend someone going through your course, because that's what I believe is the biggest thing you take away from childbirth courses, even though that's not what they're about. So I totally recommend your course, because that's like what it's about. It's about, okay, you're this way, and let's like learn about how that applies to birth. I think that's so cool, because for me, all the little details, while they're important, and obviously for someone that's not super familiar with birth, they need to learn those things, you know, about dilating and whatever. So that's really important. But I think that your course, in a very simple way, takes it way farther. It's so easy to go through because it's all online. It's invaluable because it will increase the communication that you and your birth partner or birth team have going into your birth to make it as successful as